Hi, everybody. Welcome to Nerds with Dice. We have a fun game tonight. We are playing Knight, a tabletop RPG made by Armored Gaming, who is actually funding a second printing. So go check them out. We got things to say, so let's say them. First and foremost, we are sponsored by Grinding Co. Coffee. There's a Black and LGBTQ plus coffee company. Use the link that will be posted in chat somewhere on one of my sides here, or the code Gunmetal Blues to get 10% off. Also, we have merch. Nerds with Dice has merch. You can find those links also in chat. Or you can go visit our Twitter, Nerds with Dice or Nerds W Dice, on the site of Twitter, our main Twitter. We don't care; it's Twitter, and that is that. So, yes. Now, about Knight, it is a story that's inspired by Arthurian legends and folklore of Avalon. We follow the Knights of their stories, which is the group you see here on our screen, who will be questing across the realm and upholding their vows to their queen. Glory to those who face the mystical and mysterious dangers of the world. But of course, who are we playing? Who are we playing with? So let's give a round of introduction to the class, or class. I'm not a teacher, damn it. To our cast. That's the right C word. So let us start with Jilly.
Hi, it is me. It is I. I am. Oh, look, it's Jilly on the internet in most places, except for Instagram, where I'm. Oh, look, it's Jilly K for reasons. Um, What am I supposed to be saying? Am I supposed to be introducing my character yet, or not yet? I'm just a human
Yeah,
standing in
we
front of
can
a
we can
webcam.
save the full character intro for when
Great.
we're about to, but for captions you can say your character name.
Great. Hi, my name is Jilly. My pronouns are she, her. I'm playing Neve, whose pronouns are also she, her. And I'm just an AP player standing in front of a webcam asking it to love her. And that's who I am today. So, welcome to me and to you. Meanwhile, Twitch has logged me out, so I'm lost forever to Twitch because who remembers their password for Twitch? Not me, certainly.
Yep, fair enough. All right, let's go to Gina.
Hi, I'm Gina. She, her. I am underscore Gina Thin on Twitter. Who knows where I'll be after that? I don't know. I am playing Gwendolyn, Dame Gwendolyn, today. Also, she, her.
All right. Lovely. Sophia.
Hi, Sophia, mostly they, them. I am a writer, I am a somatic therapist, I am playing Sir Nasir Shamseldin, and I have never done this before, so I'm very excited. Also, my hair is doing that because my fan is pointed directly at me, so don't worry about it.
All right, thank you.
We are getting a little wind on the microphone, so you may want to adjust your mic.
It's okay. We'll pretend we're on the bluffs for a moment.
Just imagine
Very
that they're
windy.
on the beach experiencing this game.
Yes. All right. And lastly, but not leastly, Knox.
Hey y'all, I'm Nox. My pronouns are she, her, and today I will be playing Heloise, who also uses she, her.
Great, beautiful. And if you don't know yet, I'm Natalie. I am our game master and facilitator for the story. Just a couple notes. We are playing a nice, friendly PG-13 game, but there is some mild content warnings around violence, potential coarse language, and of course, folklore horror, as we are embracing the sort of elements that come with Arthurian legend. But we're going to be family friendly. It's going to be fun. We asked for whimsical. We discussed what we want at our table in our game, and all of our safety tools are in place. So with all that said, I will get our story started here. So the realm of Avalon, a large island surrounded by misty seas. It is filled with magics and creatures and things beyond understanding. But people come, people live here. The Avalons have been part of this land for centuries, having joined with Avalon at the times of the great giants that have long since passed. But in our present time, there is a thick mist that hangs in the air, in the valleys, amongst the mountains, filling them almost like a wispy gray lake. Carrying on the cool early spring wind, you can hear a mournful song. You do not understand the words. It is muffled, whispered, or simply just at a distance. Hard to say, but the emotion is there of sadness and loneliness. You feel that in your bones. You see within the valley landscape a hill set alone in the space, and upon it a tree. It is quite old and massive, twisted and reaching for the dull sky above. Its bark is black, with parts peeling away to reveal the pale white of wood underneath. You see pierced within its trunk a sword, rusted and weathered by the elements. You have an inkling from what details you can see that this blade is a design from centuries ago. As you observe it, you hear the creaking of what you think might be metal, and you see droplets of the mist revealing twisted chains reaching from the bottom of the hill and roping up to the tree as though to shackle it in its spot. The sad, longing song continues to echo on the wind. Dame Gwendolyn, you wake up with a start as your squire shakes you. You can feel their hand on your shoulder, and the dream you are having is quickly escaping your mind as you find yourself awake by your pond that you used to go to. So as Sagramore is shaking you awake, you can hear their voice, like, hey, tell us, what does Dame Gwendolyn look like?
Dame Gwendolyn, Ignoville, she is very small, actually. She's like, she's 19, but she's small even for like a teenager. She's like 4'11", very slight of frame. She's got, her hair is like, it's like unruly, but in a way that's like, she's tried to get it to under control. It's not doing it. So she's just kind of, it's doing what it does now. She is, I've run out of adjectives at this point. But yeah, that's basically the gist. She's in oh, I've blanked. I'm sorry. We're gonna leave it there.
That's all right. It is just from the sudden wakenness that your words sort of escape you as you're face to face with your squire, which, with the two of you being fairly close in age, they don't give you the respect that you deserve as someone of your name and title. Especially since they're almost not exactly violently, but they're very much like shaking you as someone that a squire should not be approaching their knight. But like, hey, you got to get up. Did you fall asleep again? Like, what?
What?
We got a letter from Lady Yennefer, who is the liege. You would know as like your liege lady, so the ones your knights get told to like questing and stuff like that. But he has basically put the letter in your face saying, got a letter from Lady Yennefer. I think it's important. Sent us their own squire straight here, so take it, and I guess I'll start preparing for leaving. I'm guessing this is a quest.
Is this accurate?
Yeah, as you open it up, like kind of like did like side eyeing your squire, like did you read this? You do see that yes, you're being requested to go on this quest. It is that time frame where knights get asked to perform their fee, so to speak, to their liege lady, to perform quests and activities. So it is a letter to be called upon to go meet with your fellow knights for this potential quest.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'll try to put the letter somewhere where Sacramore cannot get it because I don't trust them. Not like teenager way. Like, I don't want you in my stuff anymore.
Yep.
Is are they actually doing their job like properly?
Well,
This is more spiting me.
he does get like somewhat confrontational, not in like the most hostile way. They just kind of like to rib you because they know they can get to you. But for the most part, they will do their job because they know if they don't, them not being a squire anymore can really harm their status.
I don't actually hold anything against it. It's just,
Yeah.
They're not
But,
actually not in danger of that. Actually, I just like to pretend.
Yeah,
It's
for sure.
fake.
Which I feel like they would understand that too. It's just that kind of like, yes, you're a knight and squire, but you have that sort of frenemy almost situation.
Yeah.
But they do get everything ready for you. They gather up your soldiers, which can be a mix of like your general common fighters, or if you have clergymen that you wish to include, or medics or anything like that. But you get all that gathered up with your usual supplies for travel. So let us skip over to Neve. Neve, you're in your fiefdom, which is an area that's surrounded by a lot of ocean and cliffs as you're sort of in this peninsula. So you do get sort of the soft crashing of waves. Where do you think you are currently in your fiefdom? Muted.
Sure am muted. So I think that we find Neve, and she's like sitting on a stone staircase, and it's like one of the big windy up the hill ones. So I'm gonna make a very specific reference here. Anyone here has seen the movie of Mamma Mia? And you know how the church for the wedding is like at the end of that insanely long staircase thing that Meryl Streep runs down singing at some point. Yes. So we find Neve just sitting like on the steps, and I think reading a book probably, or something like that. Like whatever she's doing is not particularly notable, but what is notable is that she is wearing incredibly new looking armor. It is shiny. It is dark purple, such a dark purple that it almost looks black. And she looks so uncomfortable in it, because anyone who has ever worn anything to a Renaissance fair that is not like a tunic will know that it's uncomfortable. It's not easy to sit down, right? Things are tied in places you don't want them to be tied. It's unpleasant. And so, like, the angle that Neve is sitting at is like improbable. It doesn't look comfy. And so I think that it's the equivalent of finding like the person lying on their back with their feet on the chair reading a book, only it's just a random stone staircase that we find her on. Her hair is curly and long and very, very messy. Like there's twigs in it, and I think she's just upside down reading the book.
Okay, beautiful. So as Neve is reading through her book, you can hear just like the soft footsteps, sort of like that rumbling of leather and heavy step on stone as you sort of glance past your pages, and you see your squire, Alf, sort of almost skipping every other step in a huff, trying to reach down to get to you. And you see in their hand, kind of ham-fisted, a white, what you assume must be an envelope of some point. You just see it as paper, but they come running down, huffing along. They're like, Lady Neve, a letter has come from Lady Yennefer.
What's it say?
He kind of crinkles it, open, trying to flatten out. It says, you're being called upon as a summons to Lady Yennefer for an important quest. Yes. If you
Like
could
what?
come.
What though?
And
Like,
he's sort of rolling through the paper.
just generally.
Yeah, it looks like it's some details on the border of the kingdom towards the mountain. Missing people, possibly fake activity. There's some rumors.
I love mountains.
Great. Well, you have to answer the call anyway because this is from her. I'll get packing.
Oh, you should get Ghosty ready.
Oh, of course, of course.
Ghosty loves the mountains. I mean, I know that like last time, well, Ghosty wouldn't like nuzzle me for a week, but I really think that Ghosty would like the mountains if Ghosty would just open themselves up to new experiences. You know?
Oh yeah, I think they just got a little, uppity about the rocks. I think he
Well-
did found a little rock under their hoof after that.
Yeah. Well, maybe extra oats. Maybe some like apples.
All right.
Maybe we
oats,
don't tell
apples.
Ghosty where we're going. Maybe we just like go there.
Oh. Okay, I won't say a word to the horse. Got it. And he starts like huffing away.
Bye then.
Yeah, I'll get everything ready.
Bye.
All right. Let us go over to Nasir. In your fiefdom, a very beautiful area with all the agriculture being next to both the feeding of the river that enriches the land, as well as getting a bit of that ocean breeze that wafts over your fiefdom. Tell us what it is that Nasir is doing and what does he look like?
So Nasir is 21, but he looks younger. He has very kind eyes, dark curly hair. He's not like he's kind of medium height, but very slender, very graceful. Um, he's good looking, but definitely good looking in a way that you would describe as pretty rather than handsome. And he is just sort of wandering through the fiefdom and checking up with the individual farmers of like, are you doing okay? Is there anything I can do for you? Do you need more seeds? And in a sweet way, but also he's being kind of awkward and they're not really used to this. Their last the last guy in charge did not go toward Dora being like, hey, do you need some extra seeds?
Yeah, and you definitely experience that sort of awkwardness approaching kind of the common people. They sort of side eye you in a way. Some of the children are curious about your group as you're walking through. Of course, your squire is, feet behind you. They don't like to let you go alone. Mostly because coming into Avalon, you're told keep your squire nearby as a knight. But as you're conversing with the common folk through the day, many of them inquiring about like some of the seeds and vegetables and such that you've brought over. I know you asked some of them if they could grow a special herb that you really love. And they have saying, oh, it's been going well. We're just getting the starts because it's spring and we got to learn how that works with our soil. But, and I think it's going to be good. We found a perfect spot that would really very rich soil, very good. And the older woman that's sort of going over all of her steps on how she can approach this while also asking you of how do I approach this at the same time. As you're conversing, you see what you suppose must be like someone dressed in the local like sort of letter carrier outfit, and they're running up and the squire sort of steps in front and is handed a letter, which then the squire turns to you. It's like, oh, Nazir, I think we got a letter from the siege lady. I think her name is Yennefer.
Oh, yes. What is it in regards to?
Yeah, I'll take a look. And they pop off the seal and unwrap it. It's like, oh, I guess there's a quest we must do as part of our night fee. Something about missing people, potentially Fae related, fairy related.
So Nasser was looking kind of reluctant about the whole oh great quest thing, and then he mentioned missing people and Fae related Zoom. Like, yes, of course. We must go immediately. Please, let's take Barak. Barak being the horse. Oh goodness, what else do we need? Oh, this is important. I'll. Oh gosh, I'll have to put Azada in charge while I'm gone. It'll be fine. She'll be fine. Um, Yes. Oh, thank you. And I'm like very earnestly thanking the letterman. Like, thank you so much. Uh, do I pay you money? I don't know how this works.
And the letterman just sort of like puts up a hand. It's like, oh, no, no. I'm part of the Queen's courier. We are well taken care of. Granted, if you want to give me, I won't say no. But okay, thank you. And they quickly put it in their bag. I got a lot more running to do. Good luck on your quest. And you see like the courier sort of like running off down the road, very focused on their task.
Oh, I should probably have offered them dinner, but oh well. And I turned to the old lady. Thank you so much. I'm so sorry for the interruption. I'll actually
Oh,
need to
yes.
get going.
Yes.
We'll get you all the information you need, we promise.
Oh, that sounds good, dearie. Please. Oh, I'm sorry, sir. You're a knight. That's very good, sir. I will look forward to whatever you may give.
Thank you. And he's like running off, very excited.
All right. So let us now jump over to Heloise. Heloise, your fiefdom lies in the shadows in the foot of the mountains. The fresh air wafts over your fiefdom, and that special sort of essence of being in an in-between space, especially as your fiefdom is known for the activity of honoring life and death. Where can we find Heloise this day?
Heloise is probably in the tomb area for like specifically for those who are part of her family, which is in like a larger sort of cemetery for the families of the people throughout the kingdom. But she's probably paid her respects to her ancestors and things like that.
All right. So as you're there in the quiet space, sort of connecting with what's there, reminiscing back on your family history, you hear the very soft steps of someone coming into the space and a light knock on the stone. And they say, Lady Heloise. And you turn and you see your squire there, sort of tired looking, but otherwise they are still trying to keep proper posture and proper acknowledgments as you see a letter held in their hand.
I think she very silently just gets up and walks over and like nods at them and takes the letter.
And you do find the contents of the letter is from Lady Yenfin, your siege lady. With a quest to go on that you and a couple knights have been summoned for. And it's about missing people and potential fairy activity happening not too far from your fiefdom. And this one, in your letter specifically, it does state that the other knights that are being called upon would be sent to your fiefdom. That way you can rally together, being the closest to the activity.
That she'll look up and she'll go, make sure to prepare lodging for our fellow knights, depending on when they arrive. Should also prepare more food. We'll need medical supplies. Is there anything else you think we may need?
And they sort of scratch at her chin a bit. Well, I'll make sure anyone that you wish to take on this quest is prepared. The horse is prepared. If it's an immediate quest, we won't be able to stay too long, so we're probably only preparing for the night they're here. Yeah, I think I can get everything arranged appropriately.
Perfect. Thank you, Squirrel.
Yes. They give you a nod and pivot, heel turn, go on their way. So we'll say in the week going, and each night that can decide what it is they're preparing and wish to take with them, whether they want the 10 people to come with them or if they're just going themselves and their squire. But for Neve, Nazir, and Gwendolyn, there you go, the names are coming. You all initially come together at your liege lady's castle of Reed. Since your 3 fiefdoms are furthest away from Heloise's, where once you meet up, you were told that the best place is, as you gathered, is to go and meet Heloise at her fiefdom and continue out from there. You are given additional supplies, your basics that you may need, like axes for chopping wood, any of that sort of stuff. And it's spread amongst whatever men you may have brought with you, and women and animals. But you do, in the coming days, unless there's any minor chatter you wish to do as you walk to go and meet in Heloise's fiefdom, we can roll straight there where the 4 of you come together for the first time as young knights. So,
Well, I think the first thing that happens, whoever Neve sees first, it like you see a very, very, very noble looking white horse. And when the figure on the back looks comfortable on the horse, but is also like waving to the point where they might be about to fall off. And you just get the, oh, hi, hello, hi, 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 hi. I think I'm supposed to be meeting. Hello,
Hello.
hi.
What's your name?
I'm Neve.
I'm Nasser. Nice to meet you.
Nasser, it's so nice to meet you. I didn't know who I was going to be meeting because they were just kind of like, meet these people in this place. And I was like, well, I kind of nervous around new people. So that might be a little bit awkward. But I'm really glad that it's not awkward because you seem super nice.
Thank you. I get nervous around new people too.
Really? What a weird coincidence.
Perhaps we should meet the others.
Yeah, this well, I mean, I know you mean others, but this is Alf.
Of
Alf
course.
is my squire.
Hello. This is
Hi.
Riot.
Hello.
Alf wanted to play the quiet game for most of the way here. And he says that I always lose, which is true. But
The quiet game?
the quiet game. It's this game where Alf says an amount of time and we have to be quiet for that amount of time or we lose.
I see. Do you enjoy this game?
I mean, it's I'm pretty competitive, so one day I'll win. I just know it.
Well,
Al
good
sort
luck
of
to you.
pipes up, is like, I enjoy it.
That's very reasonable. Nasser is
is-
trying so hard to be diplomatic.
This is Ghosty. This is my horse Ghosty. Well, his official name is Ghostly, but I think that Ghosty is cuter.
What a magnificent steed! This is Barak.
Oh, you're so handsome. Hi. Would you like an apple? I have extra apples.
And
Oh, also, don't tell Ghosty that we're going to the mountains. It's a secret. He doesn't like mountains.
You lied to your horse?
I mean, is it really lying if you just don't tell the complete truth?
Yes.
Ghosty's ear just flicks. It's like, "Pfft."
Nasser pets Ghosty in a very sympathetic fashion.
Nuzzles ya.
Oh.
I think Neve is now getting apples out and passing them around.
It shouldn't be too long until you two come across Gwendolyn, as Gwendolyn's fiefdom is very close to your Sleege ladies area. For Gwendolyn, it's easy to spot now a larger group, especially of knights in brightly shining armor.
And she's just gonna, I wouldn't say sneak up on them, but she's not, I think she's only traveling with her squire and like one other, maybe two other people, so she's not alone with Sagramore.
Mhm.
Just like quietly join the column, not announce that she has joined the column. Yeah, kind of sneak in, not really say anything.
Nasser notices this, respects this, and says absolutely nothing. Just kind of gives an acknowledging nod and carries on.
Hide in the
Which-
group.
Which Sagramore does like a little like elbow nudge, just like, you're the knight, you gotta properly. Do I have to introduce you too?
Just, we'll get there when we get there. No, when necessary.
Hail.
God.
Hell.
All right,
Sure.
introductions. This is Dame Gwendolyn to join on the quest.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much.
Greetings, Dame Gwendolyn.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Was not expecting to do this on the road, but hey, hello.
My name is Nasser. This is my squire Rayad and my horse Burak.
Hi, I'm Neve. This is Alf, and this is Ghosty. Ghosty really likes apples. Also, we're not talking about the mountains. I'll fill you in later. But
lying to her horse.
it's not lying if you just do not include the entire truth. I didn't
Our
say we were
steeds are
going
noble and should know what they're signing up for.
but like Ghosty really doesn't like the mountains. Do you? I'm sorry, I said the word. I'm sorry, Ghosty. It's okay. It's okay. It's gonna be fine. Have some apple. Have some apple.
I wasn't aware people had so many opinions about their horses.
Do you
Well-
not?
No, this is my horse, Sparrow. It's my horse. I mean,
Would you like an apple?
sure?
I wasn't asking you. I was
imagine-
asking
I-
the horse.
I realize. I realize. Okay.
Here you go.
Yep. And Sparrow takes it very quickly. But with
So
that, unless there's something else you wish to say,
I think at some point Neve just goes, "So what game did you play on the way here?"
Game?
You know, to pass the time.
she will look at Sagramore for help at this point. Like,
We recited poetry and exchanged stories about our homelands and largely rode in silence, for the journey was long and tiring.
yeah,
Oh, that's nice.
that sounds more familiar to me.
Let me teach you this really cool game that my friend taught me. It's called I Spy.
and we're gonna push you all on ahead so that we can join with our lady Heloise. So our three knights in company come to the entranceway. Their appearance, of course, announced, as many times squires will go off ahead to tell the other squires the company is coming. So Eloise, you are very well prepared at this point. It's been a couple days for them to get to your fiefdom. So as they come in, how do you have things set up, or how did you have your squire set things up?
I feel like she probably had them set up a large amount of food, because she didn't know how many people they were bringing, and then anything left will go to the rest of the fiefdom. They have lots of like flowers everywhere. Then they have like this one corner with like a nice little decorative bone altar with like flowers next to it to like make it look nice. They probably, when they get there, she's like polishing a skull and talking to it.
Right.
Hello. Thank you so much for what you've done. Thank you for the life you lived. Oh, there's. Oh, thank you. Puts the skull back.
Was that a friend?
They're all friends in a way.
Sure, better that than the alternative.
Nasser bows to the bone altar in a respectful fashion.
Welcome to Paralos, and we hope that your journey was long, but that it was easy and safe. We have prepared food for you and your company if you would like to join us.
Thank you kindly.
Squirrel, do you have everything?
It is prepared.
And Heloise will just like walk towards the food and like gesture for everyone to join.
All right.
Nasser's sort of picking at the food because he wants to be respectful, but he also really doesn't like the food of Avalon.
Right. So you all sit down for feasting. You can talk briefly if you wish, or eat in silence. Is up to you. Whether it's maybe this would be probably not necessarily the first time you've all seen each other, but at least the first time you're now forced to go on a quest together. As you are all fairly young, half majority of the group being 21, with Gwendolyn being 19. So you're fairly new to the knighting things. You're familiar with like the elements of being a knight, but now you're given a true knight's task. And going over the letters you've all received, there is elements of where you may need to talk to people, or if you want to go straight to the sort of quote unquote scene of crime where the rumors are where people are going missing. But you do have time, at least this night, to prepare for your journey out to the spot. So,
I
yes.
think that Neve will definitely like try to touch base with everyone on what they have. And we'll kind of perhaps ask them questions that are a little strange to them, like whether they carry salt or whether they have anything that has been like has been I'm trying to work out what the equivalent will be, but I think that any items of special spiritual significance to them, whatever that may mean to them, and we'll just say it's best to be prepared for all eventualities. Salt is very useful, you know.
Eloise just kind of gestures to the room they're in.
Just want to make sure that everybody is prepared for whatever we find.
What do you expect
And
to find?
I think that at some point you'll see Neve take out a dagger that has like an engraving on it that doesn't appear to be a language, it's more symbology, but it's like it looks like the sun and a cloud and a lightning bolt, and then like something like a calm water of some description.
Nasser has some prayer beads, but he'd probably like have a lot of nervousness. Like he'll show them, but in a very like people from Avalon have not always reacted well to his strange customs way. And I think he's also going around just asking people like, do you know anything of this mission? Do you know anything of the Fae? Do you know anything of those who have been lost to the Fae?
Here's a question. Given my family's like deal,
Mhm.
which I assume we'll get to, do I know anything about the Fae, especially?
Yeah, so given your family history, though you specialize in a certain kind of creature of this world in your recent family history,
Yeah.
there is a lot of like fairy elements with it of delving into the Anwen, which is like sort of the underworld version. Um, so you are aware of such entities that could exist and could pull um, the living into death that they can take. You also know of creatures that will forewarn of death coming or of danger coming, such as uh, great black hounds with red tipped ears that warn of changing of the royalty and those kind of stories. You have yet to confirm them firsthand yourself in any capacity, but they are sort of legends you've heard of as part of your sort of hunting manifesto for your specialty.
In which case, I think Neve just says, "Well, I know you have to be careful because the Fae are unpredictable. Um, Many of them don't follow the patterns of other Fae creatures or other creatures of. Well, I think it's fair to say, creatures that aren't from around here."
But do you know what, uh, if they if someone disappears to the Fae, are they lost? Can one retrieve them? Isn't that our mission to retrieve those who have been lost?
Yes, I think it probably depends on what took them. Some creatures, I would assume, I'm guessing here, would probably just whisk them off, whereas others might be willing to return them or get bored of them after a while or not particularly care what happens to them.
I see. Thank you. Whisk them off to where?
The Fae world?
I see. Thank you.
Treacle agrees.
Yeah. It is
Well,
an interesting concept, as those of you who are familiar, and especially for Gwendolyn, as you're quietly listening, you having studied quite a bit in lore and stuff being your specialty. Um, there are levels of realms that can sometimes overlap in spaces where things can get a little weird, where sometimes the creatures pour out and you never really know where they necessarily come from or go to. Um, but Avalon has always sort of existed in this weird magical space, knowing that giants had created this place and then disappeared after the great ancient battle. Um, that there are places that they'll appear and disappear, um, with no knowledge of ever seeing again, at least as written. um, but there's no, at least no record you know of that is solid evidence of someone having come back from the Fae. But there are like legends, sort of like whispered and like as like oral story of like legendary heroes that were able to travel into these spaces and come back.
She does not have high hopes for these people that have disappeared, so she's not going to mention any of that. Like, it's just like, yeah, we'll pretend, we'll say that, we'll say. Not optimistic here. Totally have a chance of recovering these people for sure.
Mm-hmm. All
I
right.
feel like Heloise gives her a look like she knows that she doesn't believe it, but doesn't say anything.
All right. So you feast through the night for at least your fill. You're or basically those who travel here already prepared to go, but any additional needs are met. The squires very much fulfilling their duties to the best of their own individual personal ability. And by the break of dawn, your company is ready to go. I know Dame Gwendolyn has already mentioned she has just her squire and two other people as part of her company. Just for note, are they like two sort of more soldier level types, or are they like a mix of one's more of a soldier and one's more like I guess a priest or a druid, sort of more either religious or magical level of skill?
I'm gonna say one is a soldier. I'm gonna say a longbowman,
Okay.
and someone who is more magical oriented. One of each. That's what I'm gonna say.
Okay. Because it's a little funny, I'd say out of the orders, you brought a bard. Now, it's not a D&D bard. I'm making that very clear right now. Very different in this context, under Celtic influences. But you did bring a bard who can very much act as a scribe as well as offer knowledge. So they are an older woman, very, very long hair that's all braided up in layers of braids and pulled back. And your longbowman, sort of lanky, wearing very dark clothes, but they're very apt and ready to take aim as needed. Okay.
I also want to have a flask of water from our pond.
Okay.
I'm just going to say that, like, just we're gonna always have one of those, just because.
Awesome. All right. Who else is bringing on this journey? You can bring up to 10 people as sort of your support kind of troop. And again, mix of whatever skills you'd wish to have from your fiefdom. And you'll always have your squire.
I think given that Nasser is not particularly physically strong, he would take a few stronger folk, especially bowmen, sword fighters. If he knows anyone with knowledge of mysticism or the Fae or such, he would probably take them, but his fiefdom is mostly agricultural, so I don't know how much that is the thing that he'd have. Maybe someone with some medicinal powers might, or medicinal knowledge might be there.
Yeah, there can certainly be a medicinal person, and then your general soldiers of agriculture. They all will know how to use a staff. like a typical stick, because it's very easy to turn any stick into a weapon, and it's easy for them to fight with that without a lot of effort of learning a sword like a knight does. And arrows or bows and arrows as well. So a good mix there. Okay. And then for Nev or Heloise, if you have any ideas of what you wish to bring.
So I think Neve probably has brought at least one like scholar of like the mysterious and potentially dark and creepy. And I think that probably the way that Neve appears is in direct contrast to the people that she has brought with her. I'm gonna say like there's probably 2 or 3, because Neve, although she is very muscular, is also not particularly like, she's dexterous muscle rather than like specifically powerlifting muscle. And so probably there is at least one really strong person there. But I think mostly they all look like, for lack of a better term, like they all look fairly goth in their appearance. And Neve, despite wearing the very, very dark purple armor, does not.
All right. Amazing. Heloise. So this will be the first time we all see your horse and you preparing to venture out. So let's include your horse in this, as well as who and what you wish to bring.
So I feel like Heloise also wouldn't bring many people, especially because of the fact that she knows people have been going missing. She doesn't want to bring people on the off chance that people continue to go missing, and she doesn't want to put people in her fiefdom at risk. And so it's probably just her and Squirrel, and her horse. And her horse is this jet black horse, and his name is Maury.
All right. Wonderful. So you all gather up, break of dawn. You quickly eat up whatever breakfast foods are available, and venture forth. The directions you were given to where the sort of larger cluster of missing reports happened is sort of basically just on the border where the river is coming down and heading down from the mountains. There's a small village that Heloise is somewhat familiar with, but you are directed that there's a small village here has been sending reports of villagers having gone missing, and in larger numbers. Like a missing person every once in a while happens, especially in these lands. But when it's the numbers that start ticking up and at a more rapid pace, it becomes a concern. But it takes probably only a day or two to venture into the town. And it is quite a quaint village. You see the mountains sort of skirting the back, filling your vision as you look over the hillside that dips down into this village. And there's not a lot of buildings, just thatched roofs, wooden structures, very simple. But for the most part, buildings maintained. Maybe the grass is getting a little wild, but you're not seeing a lot of activity here. And by the time you got to this village, probably after the day and a half of travel, it's entering afternoon.
Because she's
Go ahead. No, you should go first.
Let's say because she's kind of slightly familiar with this town, would she know where they should go or who they should speak to first?
Yeah, you have some options. You know, if anything is being heavily influenced by Fae, you could probably just follow the river straight into the woods and heading into the mountains. If you wish to gather more information, there's definitely some folks that you can talk to. You just may have to knock on some doors to make sure they're around, and that this whole entire village hasn't disappeared. You have a couple options of what you want to approach to first, or if you wish to just venture into the wood.
I think she's going to turn to the others and go, do we wish to gather more information before we look? Or do we wish to look now for the sake of there may not be much time for those who have gone missing?
I think that Neve at this point will stop whatever like song she is trying to explain to the rest of the group, and will say, I could go ahead and scout a little. That's something that I'm pretty good at. I'm not as good as Harriet, but I don't step as loudly because Harriet was always like really clumpy when she like. Anyway,
I think we should waste no time.
I don't know what that means, but I can go look if we want to.
I'll go as well.
Okay, let's go. Let's go. I'm gonna, because I'm a sneaky sneak, so I'm gonna try and like suss it out with my new friend.
All right. So now we're getting to a point where some mechanical things are going to come into play.
Ooh.
So I am setting, at least for this first leg of sneaking around and stuff, going to set the activity number. So that just means it's like the challenge level of what it is you're doing. This isn't too challenging, but there is always risk of complications. So I'm going to put the activity number at a 10. And then for you, our knights, you can roll a die with a attribute that matches the activity you're doing. So you are sneaking. They'll say you can roll a d6 unless you wish to argue for a higher die.
I'm a hunter. Can I hunt?
You are a hunter, and yes, hunters need to be able to sneak very well to hunt their prey. So you can definitely go up to a d8 unless you wish to
Yay.
continue arguing for any further die.
I mean, I think a d8 is reasonable at this point. I reserve the right to argue for more later.
I will say a d8 is reasonable because you are also in armor trying to sneak.
Yeah, and also she's not comfortable in her armor like at all. So okay, well, I didn't roll very well, so here's hoping that my new friend does better.
I rolled a 2.
I also rolled a 2, so between us, we
Okay.
rolled a 4.
So that is, yeah. So I'll say you don't have to beat the activity number in one roll. It becomes a collection of actions, but the more actions you have to take to reach can provide more complications. So with a 4 total, you're both having rolled a 2. Did you add a attribute to your roll?
No, but I should do that.
Okay, so just to explain your attributes a little bit, you have your 3. Since you're both sneaking, I would say this would probably be prowess because you're trying to keep like basically using skill to keep yourself quiet as you're peering through the space.
So my
Okay.
prowess is 10.
Mine is also 10.
Okay, let me just double check to make sure that I did that and that's not for the checks. That's always a thing too. New system, who this? Or maybe that's just for the check and not for our effect die. But you are going into the village, yes, to sneak around, to look for, or straight into the wood.
I think Nasser would be wanting to go straight into the wood.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think Neve would go with that for sure.
Okay. Yes. I was wrong. We don't add your attribute for the activity number rolls. We do it for the checks. So a check
Okay.
will come into play soon. But you rolled a 4 total against a 10, so you just need to get 6 more total together. But with a 4, you are sort of treading that line, passing the border into the woods, and you immediately feel the shift of the warmer spring space of the village into the cold, almost as though winter is clinging to the inside of the wood. You see some tracks. May take time to investigate how old they are or how new. But quietly, you're coming in. You hear very distant chirps of birds. Sometimes you hear the crack of twig, and you look to try and see what it is. And then you might catch a rabbit sort of bounding away.
Quick side note, because I think it's relevant to production. Pixel Chat kicked almost all of us, so if you haven't clicked on your new link, then you should do that because Pixel Chat hates Joy.
Oh,
Yes.
no.
I figured because it's Evergone, we might as well take a moment.
For sure, for sure.
Let's all
I
take
was
a
like-
moment and have captions.
Yes.
Captions seem good.
All right. But yeah, you come in. You are making some noise entering the woods. It's a little hard to be quiet when you're fully armored and you have weaponry that's sort of clink clanking against you. And even though the rest of your companions and party might be holding back a bit to give you that space, it's a little tricky.
I think that this is 100% for Neve getting distracted by the bunny. That's what this is. Like, I love bunnies. Look at them. They're so cute. And I think also Neve at some point just kind of like stage whispers over and goes, "Do you see anything?"
I think Nasser, meanwhile, is very tense, very focused, definitely not paying attention to the bunny. And he's quite fond of bunnies. And his response to Neve is just like,
All right. So give me another roll. Sitting at a D8 for Neve. And then Nasir, did you want to like you would be doing a D6, but did you want to try and argue for a better die for what you're doing to keep quiet? Or did you want to look for something else?
I don't think I can make an argument for a better die because I don't think that this is actually within Nasser's skill set. It's
Trust
certainly
me, the way that
very
I'm
important
rolling,
to
it's
him,
not
but-
within mine either.
So yeah, I
Right.
will. I got a 4.
Okay.
It's higher than mine. I got a 3 on a D8.
All right. So with that in total, you do beat the activity number at this point because it was a 10. So you both work together through the space. You are now finding the groove of how to be quiet here, of how to sort of match your breath with the breeze. Now, how deep do you feel that you two will be embarking into the woods by yourselves before you want to stop and see if you can find any clues?
I mean, truthfully, I think Neve would go until she thinks she sees something.
Same, yeah. I think I'm looking for clues the whole time, but willing to go pretty far.
Okay. I'll say as you're going deeper in, going off the beaten path at this point, this is becoming a dangerous situation. So I would like you to give me a check. So with a check, you have to select which attribute you wish to use, and you need to roll below that attribute.
Okay. I would like to use wit because I think
Mhm.
this is like investigative, right? And this is using like the knowledge that I have. So I'm using. I'm sorry. What die is it? Do I still have a D8?
So yeah, so at this point for checks, it's your D20. So
Oh,
that's what the
D20.
D20
I
is
was like, if
used.
I'm rolling a D8, I'll definitely roll under a
Oh,
12.
for sure.
So this is winning. No, that makes a certain amount of sense. I rolled a 16 because now I'm apparently gonna roll those high numbers.
Of course. Of course. Okay.
Rip.
Over to you, Nazir.
Yeah, I would say also wit for basically the same reason, and I did roll a 15, so
We're just
Same
we're
path.
just killing
Yeah.
it. We're
We're doing
killing it.
I'm like
well.
imagining that it's because Neve is like humming like tiptoe through the tulips or something. As y'all are-
So I will let you two sort of ruminate on what consequences comes out of failing your checks here as we revert back to those that remained behind as you scouted ahead. Heloise and Gwendolyn, what are you doing at this time as you watch the other two go off into the wood?
Um, what? Well, Gwendolyn wants to know, and I don't think she can do it without going into the village, honestly, is where exactly, like, do we know where they actually disappeared from? Like, did they disappear while in the wood, or, like, were they, like, do we know that information at all?
Yeah, all the information that was passed through your liege lady was they just had reports of all these people missing, and that if you need further details, you should talk to the people.
Yeah, I think Gwendolyn is thinking about doing. She's like, yeah. Do we actually know they disappeared inside the wood? Did they like out of their beds? What's the deal here? You know,
I'm not sure, but we could. There will be people in town we could talk to while the others look in the woods.
yeah, it's basically what's happening. It's like watching these two go into the woods. And like, do we actually know that that's where we're supposed to be going?
Yep, for sure. So, if you decide to approach the village and enter it proper, it is quiet. Um, but even as you're sort of coming in, you are seeing some signs of recent life. Like there's been foot tracks in the path. You do hear like the sounds of like chickens clucking, um, the little like whines of pigs in little pens. So there must be folks around to have let out the animals. So it's not any check for this. It's easy to come across people as you start knocking on a door, and eventually someone does open one. And you see sort of a middle-aged man, weathered, like deep fine lines, just sort of these deep smile lines. Hair that's all tousled, but the sides and back is cropped down, so it's just like a big puff right on top of his head. Square frame, and he opens the door, and this is the house that has like that little pen of pigs, and he sort of squints at you in the morning light like, yes, morning, nights, as he's like very like he notices your armor and tries to be polite without knowing how to do that. So he tries to take a bow, but it's very like jerky, and he's like, how can are you here about the missing people?
Yes, we kind of need information. We're not told a whole lot about it. We're told to ask someone here.
Yeah, it's a weird time. He scratches at like this it's not a fully grown in beard, it's just like that rough stubble where it's all patchwork and stuff, and he scratches at it and he sounds like sandpaper. And it's like, yeah, it's been maybe a better part of a week or two. Yeah, just I think it started with Madeline and then Carrid, and then he starts listing off people. He gets to about to the fifth one. And it's like, there was someone that had come down from the mountains. They weren't from the village. They weren't. And they looked, I remember them looking very, very sad. And he seems to like really be struggling. As he initially mentions it seemed clear, but as he's like trying to recall, it's as though that memory is pushing back. And he's just like, oh, I just remember sort of almost a sad tone, like very sad voice. But the weird thing is many of us were having dreams of going out into the woods, of going and finding some sort of valley out in the mountains, like something was calling. But I think that might be why some people have been sort of trying to, maybe they're being possessed to go, or I don't know, the Fae can be such weird things.
Is any of the details of the dream similar to the one that I had at the top?
Yeah, as you think about it, and the dream was escaping to you because of how rude Segramore was. But you do recall, like, at least the soft tone of some sort of very sad song. You don't remember seeing any people, but a valley seems familiar.
Okay. It's very concerning information.
Yes.
Okay. Is this like everybody in the village is having them, or is it like select people?
Yeah, the man sort of scratches at his chin again. He's like, well, I don't know if everybody has. We haven't talked to everybody. Some people don't like to talk about their dreams. It can get a little superstitious. I think at this point, I'm going to set an activity number now for you two for investigating and talking to people. So say, again, not too hard. It's going to be a 10, I believe, a 10 activity number. Again, it's a start of 6, and you can choose argue to go up, or if you feel like rolling a d4, that's on you.
No, I don't think I can argue any of Heloise's traits helping here.
No, gotta roll a d6.
Okay, roll them d6s.
I got a 1.
Oh god, where'd it go? Okay, I can't find it, so I'm gonna roll another one. Oh, that was bad. It's a 3.
I got a 1.
All right, you rolled a 4 together, matching our other pair here. Awesome. Yeah, so you start gathering this information, trying to thread together what's going on. And you finish talking with this man as he sort of now gets to a point where he can't recall anything anymore. It's almost like whatever memory he had of the person that came to visit just completely pulled out of his memory.
Can Heloise try, because she knows medical stuff, can she try to see if she can, like, medicine the memory?
Bonk him on the head. That works.
Can I try turning him on and off again?
For fun, give me a check. If you specifically want it to be just like an insight thing, you can roll wit. or if this is purely skill, you can roll your prowess. If you want to argue for vigor, you can do that too. You just have
Can
to
I-
explain how you're doing this.
Can I just say I would love it if the solution to this problem was to bop them all on the heads again, just like little rabbit foo-foo. That
Oh
would
yeah.
really please me.
Okay, I roll a d20, right?
You roll a d20 and you want to roll either at or below your attribute number.
I got below because I got a 4.
Sweet. Yes. So with that, you sort of examine him. How do you want to get this man's memory back? How would Heloise help this man get his memory back?
I think she would like have him sit down, take like a torch, like an actual torch, and just like hold it like this, make sure that he's like follow the torchlight. Okay, take off the torch, and then hit him on the head.
So you bonk him and he like blinks. He's like, what in the ever-loving Morgan? And he sort of just like rapidly blinks and also like furrows his brows at you. It's like, why the hell did Knight hit me? He's like,
Do you remember now?
Yeah, I remember. The woman, she was very, very sad, had a very sad song, and just wandered through the village. And I tried to call out to her, and she sort of just looked at me. I think she must have been a fae. I don't recall what her features were like, just that she was sad. And she looked towards the mountains, and as I went to look there and look back, she disappeared. But I do remember she came from along the river there.
Thank you for your help. This should help with the headache. She gives like some medicinal herbs.
Oh, for sure.
Any
He
other
like
questions?
takes it and he holds it, trying to think of what to do with. Is like, I guess a tea.
I will prepare it while my fellow knight asks you questions. She like just takes some like, not everybody knows medicine. Just walks and starts like mortar and pestiling, like to make like a rub on the head.
Unfortunately, Gwendolyn doesn't have any other questions, so they're gonna have to stand there in silence.
Yeah, awesome. So you two gather information, and I'll say, since you had such a successful check, I'll say you beat your activity number. But you realize the hours are growing long, and the other two haven't returned. And when you look outside, you see the company that they brought with them. Like the two squires are nervously looking at each other, sort of like out of their nerves, petting the horses. And the other part of the troop is sort of just awkwardly, twiddling their thumbs. And the sun is getting lower in the sky. So let's flip back to the other two as you realize how dense the forest is getting and how dark is getting. What is going on? What was this trouble, this consequence you find with their failed check?
So, in the chat, we have Fully Armored Mark, who I assume is one of the creators of this game.
Yes.
So, hi. Hello. Who has suggested that we roll versus attribute to see if there's a consequence. I also like the idea of that telling us how serious the consequence is, because I feel so the real question is, right, I guess we're trying to roll below our attribute.
Yes.
Yeah, equal or under is no consequence. Okay. So I'm perfectly fine doing that. Because I think it's fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
makes sense to me.
And it doesn't matter because I rolled a 13 and I don't have an attribute higher than 13. So I certainly receive a consequence. I don't know if we want to do it for both, each of us, or if we want it to carry over for both of us. But
I think think you both can individually roll because then you can figure out what the difference, how big of a difference there could be, and what consequence you have.
I rolled a 5, so apparently I'm doing okay there.
Great. This fits the narrative perfectly because what has happened is Neve has 100% gotten distracted by a shiny rock and fell in like a river or a creek or something that was like it. I haven't swum in armor, but I imagine that it is not a pleasant or easy experience.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. So you approach the water, just following the glinting, shimmering of stones. And you don't even realize at the start that at how clear this water is, even though it should be visible in its movement, you just don't even notice it. And as you go and reach in, you instantly feel that cold rush of wet as you sink into the river. And you do feel your armor on instantly starting to drag on you into the water.
Oh, 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 oh!
What just happened? I think Nasser like runs over and tries to like drag out a log and maybe tires out or lightly injures himself getting the log, but is also like, "Yeah!" Like holding it out for Neve to grab, and he's not thrilled with the situation.
Yeah, and to you, Nasir, like you can see that it's very visibly water. It doesn't look clear or anything to you. It just looks like a standard river in the moment that you notice.
The where I live, the banks are more defined. They're
I really don't need to hear the story right now. Can you please just get out of there? And what were you know, I don't it's just a river.
very wet.
Yes, I understand that, but I mean, what did you expect to find in the river?
Well, I didn't expect to find a river, so I didn't expect to find anything in the river. And I think like
Did you not see the river?
evidently. And I think there is like squeak, 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 squeak as
Oh yeah.
because Neve is also not very strong. So I imagine there is just like a significant like
Yep. You are weighted down. I'll say your current to add to your a trait that you have, and this can disappear later, is that you are drenched.
I'm
So
drenched.
it just you feel gross in your armor, like whatever sweat and the under padding that gathered is now like just coming back onto your skin. The weight of it all like weighing you down. So you may have a little bit of trouble with movements and your more physical stuff while you're drenched in your armor.
Okay, we're learning. We're learning in the chat. So consequence could be damage dice, loss, or anything really. Damage could represent losing the thread, with losing all endurance meaning you are stumped. Yeah. Do I lose endurance? Does this
Yeah, so endurance you can lose. It doesn't have to be strictly physical, it be mental and emotional,
Okay,
or
yeah.
not being able to solve a problem. So yeah, I say with them having like fall into the river, needing to get help out, you can lose 1 endurance.
Yay, consequences for my actions. All right. So yeah, I'm very drowned rat right now.
Nasser is torn between still being very frustrated and also just like his inherent caretaking instincts. Are you all right?
I mean, physically, emotionally, like morally,
More?
like
Do you need anything? Can I help?
I need a shower. Do they have those here?
I'm not certain.
Okay, well, I would like a bath at the very least. I think I'll be all right. I just need, sometimes when the padding on your armor gets damp, it's just really uncomfortable. It's like having wet socks. It's just I'm overly moist.
Sorry, my sound just cut out. Can you repeat that?
Oh, I'm with pleasure. I'm overly moist.
I see. Well, I suppose we should head back. It's getting dark. I haven't seen anything. Did you see anything?
Well, I can tell you what I didn't see, which is a river. Um, I didn't really see anything that's like fairy like. I mean, maybe we should ask. I assume my scholar is not with me and has been left with my horse and everything. Maybe we should ask what the signs of like fairy activity are. Like, I wonder if they leave marks or anything when they take people, or if there's like specific symbols that we should be looking for. Probably we should have asked about that before we went to look for them, but it's fine.
Yes, I suppose I could have handled this with a little more care. Well,
Oh, it's not your fault.
I've been looking for a missing person for a long time, and you'd think I would have gotten better at it at some point. But let's head back. Let's get you your bath.
Some people are really good at not being found.
Yeah. I suppose so.
All right. So you two head back. It takes you a bit. You wonder if maybe something got twisted around. But you head back. But what feels like maybe only an hour or so to you, to the rest of your companions, they sort of look at you in pure concern and a start as your squires sort of come up to you. And for our other two knights, at this point, it was closer to noon when the two of them left. It's now like dinner time, essentially.
Gwendolyn would have been like starting to like organize a search party for these two. We'll assume that they came back in the middle of her starting to do that. Jeez.
Your squires approach you and they're like, You've been gone for hours. What, are you all okay? Did you get hurt? Did someone get injured?
I mean,
why are you wet?
there was a river. It was a problem. It's fine. We didn't really find anything. So we need to probably know what we're looking for, is what I think.
Did you go out there for several hours not knowing what you were looking for and just hoping you would find it?
I don't think it's
I
important for
had
us
a
to dwell
sense
on
of
those
some things
details.
that I was looking for, and Nasser turns to Rayad specifically. I'm so sorry. I didn't see anything.
I'm glad you're safe. But maybe we'll take some more caution next time because we don't need to lose you too.
I'll try. But no, we didn't see anything odd unless you count Neve not seeing a river.
It was sort of dark, okay? Look, in Misery, there are more defined borders to the water. It's not quite so abrupt.
For Gwendolyn and Heloise, immediately that strikes you as off because this town is beside a very notable river, one that reaches all the way to the ocean.
Yeah, it's like we were warned about a river. The guy
I
we were
mean,
just talking to.
yeah, but I didn't expect it to just like come out of nowhere, you know?
It didn't come out of nowhere. The river has been there since before we were born.
I don't think it's important for us to dwell on the details right now.
I mean, it's the only detail we have.
So maybe let's find more details.
Or we could discuss the one that we have.
I think perhaps we should be a little more attentive in the future.
I really feel like this conversation has taken a turn, and I do not appreciate it. Although I understand that everyone is frustrated, I am the one that fell in a river, and I feel like my feelings about this are not being really respected, and I get enough of that at home. So, like, I'm gonna go take a bath, and y'all can, you know, plan or whatever.
I should probably have been more patient. Nasir waits to say that until after Neve has left.
Yeah, Neve is 100% leaving to go take a bath.
Right.
Gwendolyn's gonna stay out of it and it's going to try to advise the company to make sure that nobody else tries to like wander into the forest and to send somebody to come get us if that happens while we're messing about whatever it is we're doing.
For sure. Yeah, with the evening hours now, forest by day can be dangerous, but forest by night extra so. So you find yourselves reminiscing on the current information that you have, eating whatever provisions you brought, the villagers that have remained. Try and be as hospitable as they can. So they do offer a heated, like basically barrel of water for Neve, and what food that they can offer, but you'd have your own. You're pretty well prepared. Yeah, you go over for a bit, and I'll say, Gwendolyn, with your trait of being a lore master, you do know Fae do like to make illusions and disguise things. So it may not be necessarily that Neve didn't see the river, but that the river got hidden from Neve. And that it isn't unusual that yeah, and it isn't unusual that sometimes they'll do it only to one person and everyone else sees it as normal. They like their little tricks, especially if they can get someone into their trap.
Genuinely was going to ask about that. Okay, that is good to know. She will not bring it up now because it is a sensitive issue. That is a morning thing. Doesn't want to get yelled at. Okay.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness. Trying to work out. Like, we need to find where this valley is. We need to find where the river is. But I feel like that's a thing that Heloise would know more since this is in the area. About. Yeah,
My
Gwendolyn
cat was
will
meowing.
ask.
What would Heloise know?
No, Gwendolyn is just trying to work out, like, geographically, can we triangulate this area without having to wander around the forest all day tomorrow? Because we're looking for a valley. But since this area is closest to you, she would ask if you or anybody around here would know of that. If there's, like,
Would
anything magic.
Heloise know that?
Yeah.
Yeah, being close to your fiefdom, I would say, you know, like there's a number of like valleys, especially going into the mountains. You can't guarantee how far away the one you specifically, or how lucky you'll be on finding the right one right away. But you do know that following the river will lead you through sort of those foot of the mountains, and that to cross over at some point, you'll go into a dip that through the forest that leads into a small valley somewhere there that's been marked on your maps for the area around your fiefdom before.
Can I say that Heloise had Squirrel bring a map and something for them to check off the areas that they have been, so that she can like show and explain where things are?
Yeah, that seems like a mundane enough item that it would be something that's your squire squirrel would have been able to pack. And just generally, it's always good to have a map. You never know where you're going to end up. So he sort of plots out already where you've been and sort of puts it down in front of you wordlessly, and like points.
Thank you, Squirrel. So we are currently here. There's a number of alleys. Does any of this look like it might work for you?
She's gonna look at the map for a while, pretending like she knows what she's doing. She's gonna. I don't know.
You don't know what you're looking at, do you?
No, I don't.
That is fair. Okay. I suppose then, and she'll turn to Nasir. Do you have any preference for where we start?
I don't have much confidence at the moment. I trust your judgment here. I'm not familiar with this land.
Very well.
So as you're all discussing, Niv, you finish up your bath. You're now no longer drenched. Your armor's still a little wet, but now it's not like a pure hindrance. Your squire did the best they possibly could to get it dry by the fires.
Elf is really very good.
Yeah, they try their hardest. But as you're getting resituated, ready to join the others, you do see amongst the company just starting to get franked it and like, what do you mean? Where'd they go? What? And a couple of them pointed in the direction following the river where you initially tried to follow. Like, oh, damn it, they are. And you hear this commotion. Even from those that are sitting away, you hear it. And let's see, who will it be? I will say Gwendolyn, you notice as you're looking at the panic amongst the company, your bard that you brought is missing.
Oh no.
They stole your bard!
No, that's why Heloise didn't bring it.
I will go jogging up to Sagramore and my longbow, like, what happened?
It was just like a second. I turned away. I figured he's an adult. He can handle himself. I just gotta, unpack the horse. And then I turn around and it's like, I just see a flash of their fabric in the wood and then disappearing. And he very pointedly, looks in the direction, very pointedly of where it went.
She is going to be jogging off in that direction.
Heloise immediately grabs Maury, hops on, and starts going after that flash of fabric.
Gwendolyn's going on foot. Her horse is unpacked. We don't have time. We're going.
All right. And is Neve and Nazir also going to follow?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. The company will unless you say stay here, they are going to follow you. Safety in numbers is their thought. So they'll be the ones on foot trying to keep up with the horses. But otherwise they are all coming with you. And it is dark here. It is interesting. And the sudden change of space you immediately feel even more before for Neve and Nazir, just the now it almost feels like you went into a different space altogether. You still see that there is wood, but now it almost seems in a strange way it's different, and you can't pinpoint why. And as your accompaniment and squires ready lanterns and torches for whatever you need to see along this path, noting some visible footprints that should match that bard going into the wood. We're going to pause here for a break. So this is a fun start to our little story here of our knights getting to know the system. Thank you so much to Mark being in chat and helping us along with our story. So as to our knights, we're doing awesome. We got something fun going on. So I hope, yeah, they stole your bard. Who wouldn't want to steal a bard? So let's give everyone a 10-minute break, refresh your drinks, take medications as you need them, washroom, whatever it is you need to look after yourselves, and we will see you in 10. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. So, to get everyone back into speed after our break here, our 4 knights with a small troop backing them have gone on a quest to find missing people of a little village in the foot of the mountains off the river, said to possibly being affected by Fae, maybe whisked away. We know how mischievous and odd the Fae can be with their decisions around people. But they have come into the village. Two of our knights, Nev and Nasir, went into the woods on their own, only to run into some trouble. Maybe it was Fae mischief. But they find themselves turned around, Neve having gotten drenched and sort of their morale dampered a bit along with it. And upon returning, our other 2 knights, Heloise and Gwendolyn, talk with at least one of the villagers, learning about who went missing and what was seen. And he did mention of a woman, a very sorrowful woman, which Gwendolyn sort of in her mind sparked a dream that she had and sound very familiar when he was trying to discuss his own. But as we're all coming down, we learned Gwendolyn's bard that she brought got whisked into the woods, and just the very last bit of sight as everyone gathers up and goes trotting off to run after them. So we're now back at the group in the scene. You're all deep in these woods. The air is thick. It is cold. It is dark. Your squires and troop have been trying to light lanterns and torches, but even with their light, it still seems like it's somewhat suffocated in this space. That every shadow almost seems to be reaching out to you. You do see very visible, fresh tracks of the bard running. Well, not running, but a wide gate to their step going along the river. Until at one point you see it almost kind of pivot going into the river. Now, I will say you don't see any signs of a body or anything in the water. You can see that much. But you do see sort of the feet go off in that direction.
I think that Neve would have at least heard of creatures that can bring people underwater or like make it so the people are pulled into the water or whatever. So I think that Neve would, respecting the sanctity of the footprints, go over and see if there is any sign of like struggle or if this person just wandered in, which is what she suspects happened.
Okay. So you're going to investigate against your knowledge of what you know of water-based fairies and such creatures.
Yes.
All right, I'm going to give everyone a chance to say what they would like to do for this scene. And then I will set the activity number and we can start making our rolls and see what we find and what we know. So as Neve is going to investigate sort of the shore of this river and recall what creatures could possibly affect people in this way and drag them to the waters, what is everyone else doing?
Can I, using whatever memory I have of the dream I had earlier and whatever details that he told me, can I try to figure out like where we should be going just based on like that? Like trying to like close my eyes and like imagine imagine like what would have happened next in the dream, like if I was standing here, or like if there's like any details that would suggest that.
Okay, yeah. So for Gwendolyn, that almost feels like you might be kind of reaching into that divination, mystical self that you have from your background. And then Neva also say you're also reaching into your family background and your hunting background for that. So just sort of for my note, Gwendolyn's doing sort of a magic sense here. Heloise, what would you like to do?
I think Heloise is getting ready to go into the water after this person.
All right. So you are preparing to kind of muscle your way in. Awesome. All right. And then Nasir, what would you like to do?
Yeah, not to steal Heloise's idea. Well, no. I think Nasir would also be inclined to go into the water, but upon seeing that she's planning to do that, he might try to check the other side of the river or the surrounding areas. I also, Nasir, because his background has been researching Fae and signs of Fae for a very, very long time. So he'd also probably be checking if there's anything that he recognizes as a sign, maybe like a smell or a sound in the air, or even just the air feeling different.
Okay, awesome. So another
That
sort of
ephemera.
yeah. All right. So I'll say with everything in mind, it is dark of night. So we'll set our activity number at a 15 for this scene. Now, this with all your rolls together, not one of you have to roll over 15, but it's your rolls together for this.
And we're all rolling d6s?
Unless you'd like to argue for a better die.
D6 seems
Does this
reasonable.
have to do with life and death?
I mean, doesn't everything, but
I mean, mine, I am specifically a tracker, so I feel like a D8 is reasonable.
yeah, I'll say so with your abilities, and you've probably had to have done tracking at night, especially for specific jobs of your past and your family's past.
I mean, also realistically, it doesn't matter what die you give me because I'm rolling like garbage today. So,
I mean, hey, you never know. This could be the important one.
I rolled a
could be.
6, so I'm breaking the pattern a
Okay.
bit.
So we got a 6.
I would argue that like her family line like practices this, but but I also said she's not good at it. I almost want to downgrade it to a D4. Actually, we'll do that. She's not good at this.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Love it.
This is what her family does, but she's not good at it at all. So a 4.
Yay!
I rolled a 1.
She's feeling better about it.
Yay! All right. And Neve.
I rolled a 6.
Yes, we did it.
The curse
Oh,
is
yeah.
broken, I say, thus cursing myself again.
Why would you do that?
Because it's fun.
All right. So, how this scene plays out as you each tap into your different skills and knowledge. We'll go in order of how I asked you at the start. So, Neve, you look at the water of the river, you look at the footsteps and where they're tracking. You don't see any struggle in the water itself, like of any recently disturbed earth or stone. You know how sometimes that muck reaches up when it's just having from being settled for so long. But you do catch across the other side, the footsteps continue going, and they seem to be of the same shape as the bard of the footsteps you're following on this side. Gwendolyn, you close your eyes and you're trying to really tap into that more mystic nature, honing into your lessons, maybe giving a small prayer to your patron. And for a brief moment, as you're feeling it out, you open your eyes a little bit, not fully, just in that sort of squint space where everything is blurred and fuzzy. And you briefly see a form of a woman, and you get that sad feeling again that you had in that dream, but you see that her arm is stretched out and pointing in a direction. Louise, with a 1, I'll say, as the lowest number, you can decide what that will look like for you. But you are prepared to go right into the water, and as you step a foot in, you do get that there is no body in here. There doesn't seem to be no struggle, as Neve sort of points that out. But with those words, you do stop yourself from having to rush in right away. And then for Nazir, with a 6 too, you catch the coldness, like the coldness of the air around you. You catch the scent of the river. You try and squint out through the darkness. And you do feel like there's a pull of direction where those footsteps have gone across the river. And for a very brief moment, you do see like a silhouette, a faint shimmering look of a woman, and she's pointing in a direction. But then she is looking at you, and you feel the sadness. And as she looks at you, there's like a moment of almost like she's peering into you and recognizes something in you. And you feel that sadness deepen as though she has something that she knows of you. But then she points in the direction again before shimmering out of your vision very quickly.
There are definite signs of Fey activity here, and I just saw a woman. She seemed, I don't know if she seemed sad or if I just felt so sad looking at her, but there was so much mourning there.
Neve, because I know you asked about creature stuff too. There is a lot of potential creatures that could bring people into the water, but the lack of struggle makes you question on what that is. And hearing a woman, you do know of stories of spirits who will try and reach out. Sometimes they are a family spirit. Sometimes they are just spirits of the lands that give warning of impending trouble and doom and death. So it sounds like at least that entity could be of a spirit of warning.
Yeah, I think Neve's also thought is because the recurring theme that everyone has talked about is that this person seems sad. If this is like an attempt to either save people from something, whether that thing itself is real, or if this person is trying to undo the past by saving someone that they could not save. But it also doesn't matter. Well, I don't say it doesn't matter, but I think Neve thinks that that is not the main problem right now. Just if anyone has a particular urge to like walk into the water, maybe just like don't, you know? Just a thought. Because it seems like the spirit, they may be good intentioned, or they may be misguided in some way, but generally, people being underwater, not great. That's my thought. So I think perhaps we should find out if there are any stories around here of like tragic loss that kind of permeate the surrounding area, because this does seem, and I don't mean please feel free to cut me off if you have any more information about this area, but in my experience a lot of spirits just want to make things okay, but they have a really messed up view of what okay is.
Well, you see, the person that I brought that would have known that information is the person that got taken in that direction. And she will point in the direction that she saw a woman pointing.
Well, that is very inconvenient.
Would Heloise know of any stories, considering she's in the surrounding area?
Yeah, with
Like,
your
yeah,
fiefdom
yeah.
so close and you so drenched in death,
Yeah.
there's a few stories you heard of. You do know of ones that even the lake ladies mention of certain uh spirits that do give warning, but also try and sort of give a leading path, if they can reach out to people who are paying attention to them or who are trying to reach out to them as well. You do know some areas of the wood that are dangerous, and not necessarily the spirit wants to put you in danger, but they do try and reach out to anyone that might have the strength to face the danger. Gwendolyn, Sigramore kind of peps up and is like, well, we got to find the bard or he could end up dead by morning. We got all these people, and he gestures to the other squires and all the people you brought.
Yeah.
If we have to cross that river, we could get a tree, chop a tree down, get across.
She's gonna. I have to cross. You have like we do have to cross the river first before to go in the correct direction, right? Yeah, she will just start organizing. For that, she does not want to wait around to do anything, and yeah, that's what she's gonna start doing. Yeah, she's gonna agree with Sagamore and start organizing people to get us across the river without having to wait for what anybody else thinks, because she is going ahead, whether they want to dilly-dally now or not.
Yeah, Nasser's definitely coming. Like it's probably just going to follow your lead, but is not going to hesitate if there is something that can be done. And probably says something like, yes, if there's someone in need of saving or someone who we have any opportunity to save, we should do it. The fact that it might be dangerous is a decision that a risk that we all took at the beginning of this.
Mm-hmm. And is everyone else also following?
Yes.
Eloise is 100% following. She just says, I do not fear death.
I mean, I do a little, but it's what comes after death that troubles me more.
Fair. All right. So I'll say with having 4 knights as well as all the folk around you, easy enough to just like completely go rogue on a tree and start cutting down a couple trees to at least make a maybe not the most solid crossing, but enough that at least if you are sure-footed, you can get across.
Nasser sings a song of apology to the tree and also gratitude.
Yes, beautiful. So you come across. Should I do a check here? This could be mean.
I know the character would be like, no, this is fine. Me, the players, like, do it to us.
Do it to you? Okay. I am convinced. Y'all can blame Nox. So the tree, again, it wasn't hard to get the tree down. This would have been an easy effect number. But to get across still in the dark of night, then the trees weren't clean cut. This was a very rushed job. So if everyone wants to give me a check to get across to make sure you don't slip and either fall into the river or any other potential consequence of not having a sure footing on you.
Okay, so I'm of two minds on this because, well, on the one hand, I'm like hunting things, moving around, sort of my jam. On the other hand, vigor, not my jam. So how do we feel about, like, is this like a strength thing or is this like a lithe thing? Because I feel like I would be good at the lithe aspect, but not the like so strong.
Yeah, You can approach it in whatever narrative way you wish. If you feel like you would be of a light foot and try and rush across it, like try to basically leap and bound to get over it as quick as possible.
Sure, I'll try and
Um,
outrun gravity. That will
Yeah,
go well for me.
yeah. Let's push that. So yeah, if you want to do, I believe it's prowess, you can.
Oh, I rolled a D8 and I got an 8 and I rolled the wrong die and I'm
Yeah, this will be
upset.
D20. We're doing checks. D20 for
So
checks.
upset. Okay.
Heloise got a 4, so she's good.
Eloise is good.
Rolled a 1, so it doesn't matter what I'm
One.
doing.
Yep.
Nasser got a
perfect.
1. He's so good at rivers. He's been traveling his whole life. He can do a river.
Once again, I have fallen in the river.
Oh my god. This river wants you.
Yeah.
Nasser
So-
sort of groans and helps haul her out.
Yeah. So you're drenched again, and again, you are completely demoralized as you feel another level of endurance sucked out of you. Not a fun night / day for you, Aneve.
Everything is damp. It's like when you go to the beach 2 days in a row and your swimsuit is on and it's like still a little damp from the day before, but she's like, it's okay, tomorrow it will be better. And tomorrow it will not be better. It will still be wet.
I will say, what I was going to roll was prowess, which is my lowest, which is an 8. So Gwendolyn's feeling great right now. She had a nice vision. She spat at. She didn't fall. She's clumsy. She's having a great time, actually, despite somebody getting kidnapped. I guess somebody should help me out of the river.
It's fine.
Gotcha.
I'm dealing with the consequences of my actions.
No. Try to pull.
No,
You're
she's
dealing
definitely
consequences of your die.
you out of the river, but
Yeah.
is very grumbly about it.
Yeah. And
I
again,
really
How many
think-
times am I going to rescue this one woman from the river?
Well,
That's-
what I like about this is that, like, Heloise is sort of naturally a little less effusive, right? And you're just, like, over this at this point because this is the second time you've watched me fall into a river. But, like, I feel like Gwendolyn is, like, the wild card here where it's, like, there could be empathy, but also, why are you like this? Like, which
Yeah.
is fair.
Heloise isn't going to judge because Heloise's thing is she literally fell out of a tree as a kid.
Okay, so
Like, she's
there
like,
you go.
She can't judge for falling out of things.
yeah. Right. But you all make it across, and I'll say, with your rolls as well, that's how you also determine your company. So those that rolled really, really well, your company made it across. Maybe the horses were left for safety, or sent back to town, like a
Yeah.
couple of them brought back to town.
Ghosty should not see this.
Yeah.
I don't want Ghosty to see me like this.
Yeah, Alpha's kind of there with Ghosty and is like pointing at you. He's like, do you want me to come? Do you want me to send?
It's better if you don't. You might lose all respect for me.
And he gives like a thumbs up, pats Ghosty, and starts walking back down the path. But you all made it across, maybe a little bit more wet than before, and again. And you start rushing down the path, the footsteps still going. And what you come across before you as the trees at first feel like everything is sort of starting to sink in and deepen in the space to almost claustrophobically, it suddenly opens up and you find yourself in sort of like a groved valley, like not massive scale, but it is like a little valley. Your immediate senses, you get a whiff of flowers and sort of wet moss. And as you flash your torches and lanterns, you do catch the colored apparel of the bard. They're sort of just lying on the ground, completely, seemingly from this vantage point, passed out. And as you continue to take in the scene, you see that there are other bodies. There are other people here. Some of them are still fairly uncovered, but others seem to have these roots and moss are twisting around them almost to create a bed over them. Again, at this distance, you're not sure of state, but you're see this happening, and you see this one tree sort of in the center of it all, and it's looks like it got like it's trying to split itself open. It's very subtly, and its roots just reaching and crawling out. You don't really see the movement of that quite yet, other than when you look to the bard, you're seeing like very subtly little twisting black roots trying to come up and over him.
Nasser rushes forward and has his sword drawn and is trying to cut free anyone who's tangled in the tree. And he does not pause to check if this seems like the tree is going to hurt him.
Gwendolyn is just going. She is going straight for her bard. That is the person she's responsible for. So she will pass anybody, anybody between him. It's not important to her right now. She's not going to think about any possible dangers or snares herself. She's just going straight for it. She will tell Sagramore to wait. She doesn't want Sagramore to be in trouble.
Yeah, he was ready to like rush forward with you. It was like, damn it, there's other knights here, so I have to obey.
Eloise is going to do like medical checks on everyone else.
Okay. And Neve, what are you doing as this scene?
So I think that Neve is like ringing out whatever she can ring out, but is also like, I think she's trying to check whether these people are still themselves, like are still human.
Interesting. That would be an interesting concern. All right.
Oh, I don't like how you said that.
Yeah.
So, for our activity number for this specific event, it is a weird space for you all. It is brand new to you. You are about to essentially fight the roots of a tree. You do not know what it is, other than currently it's a tree to you. So we'll say we're going to put out a 20. This is a difficult and challenging aspect, as your aggression could trigger something to be aggressive in return. So depending on how you roll, will determine what we get into. So currently at 6 for most everybody. So if you'd like to argue better dice.
I mean, the thing that I've chosen to do is specifically my jam. So like, can I argue for a D10?
Yeah, so between your hunting nature, you're able to, whether a person or your background know who's dead or alive. So that could also help Eloise in her medical search. And you would know, are they still people or not? So yeah, go ahead. That can be your number.
Yay!
For your die.
I have to run to the bathroom, but I did roll a d6 because I don't think Nasser is like specifically good at this, and I got a 5.
Okay.
Would my axe be any use here?
Oh, for sure. You're chopping wood, and we did say at the very start of the session that your squire prepared your troop to chop wood. So if you didn't tell the rest of them to stop, they could have ran in with you to start helping with the other people.
I also just have an axe.
You do.
I think
the
that
delight on your face, Gina, when you asked that was my favorite.
I have my little throwing axes. There's an axe on I wrote down somewhere that I imagine that everybody that is like in my, we all carry axes because it's on my family's coat of arms, so we just have them for like reasons.
Yep.
Okay, wait, that would mean I rolled D8.
Yeah, D8, unless you want to keep arguing and push for a better die.
No,
I push for a D10 for medical
Okay.
stuff.
Yeah, for sure. You would also know if people are alive or dead as part of your scholarly stuff.
That is a 5.
Okay.
I only rolled
We're halfway there.
Rolled a 4. She is slightly panicked about this in my mind.
That's fair. Okay. And Neve, what did you roll?
I rolled a 7.
Okay. Yeah, great job, everybody. So your total beat the activity number. So very efficiently, whether it's through sheer panic anxiety or just the coolness of I've done similar things, or this is just built into our family blood. You each take action. So just describe to me, each of you, how you would be helping these people. I will say, for sure, they are alive. The ones that are heavily buried, even though they seem lethargic at first, they are also still alive. And they do seem like people. So you each take a turn to describe how your success works.
I think that Neve's main concern is that they are human, that whether they are under the influence of like a thrall or a sleep spell or something more magic-y. But I think that she does the like maybe not overly sophisticated test of like maybe just like tapping one of them on the face. Be like, wake up, wake up, wake up. And then and like we'll do the like I think I'm trying to think what the mythology of this would be because I don't just want to straight up yoink the like Judeo-Christian mythology of like things, but like checking that they have a reflection and like that they respond to like outside stimulus in the way that a human would. And I think it probably does look a little weird because there's like just Neve taking the sock off of one of them and like tapping their toes in like a particular pattern. Because I think that Neve has been taught that the toes will respond where sometimes like limbs would not if they're lethargic. It looks weird for sure.
Yeah, and as you do that, the ones, if they're still covered as you go to them, if you go to them first, where the roots kind of draped over them, they don't respond. But as the rest of the troop chop away at the roots and the ones on those break, that's when they start becoming responsive and you check them over. And yeah, okay, they are people, they're still human. And the ones that seem to have been more buried now have like kind of those marks of where the roots are. So these black marks where they were.
I would say initially Nasser just goes in and starts slicing at whatever is closest and like actively gripping someone. And then as it becomes evident that the tree does not seem to be attacking back, he starts being a little more careful and a little more methodical of like, okay, let's first cut out the people who are the deepest in and let's not try to actively destroy the tree quite yet. But there's definitely still kind of a franticness to it of like, must do this before they disappear.
Gwendolyn has no such concerns about maybe actively damaging the tree. She's very panicked about this because she feels responsible for all of the people that are following her around because that is her job to be responsible for them. So she just has her like it's a throwing axe really. It's not really for she doesn't use the one that's for
Like woodcutters?
Yeah, not one of those. This is like technically a little throwing hand axe, and she's going to use that to like try and cut away the roots on this. Like, she will like literally be jumping over anybody else that's between her person and anything else. She does not look great doing it.
Yeah. So since you went for your bard first, the roots were just barely starting to attach to them. When you approach, they do seem completely unconscious. But as you like cut off in a way the roots and they sort of curl back.
She only has to go for one and just like threaten it.
Yeah.
If that's enough, it's
yeah. Well, the rest of Nazir's company, they are already like trying to help following suit get the rest of the people out because they understand what this panic of this could be like. So everyone's getting out one by one. And then Eloise.
Eloise is like, she looks at Squirrel and goes like, divide and conquer, essentially. So they take half of the people. As people start waking up, she starts going over to them and checking them out. Follow the torch. Okay, how are you feeling? Giving water. And I think Neve had brought like a bunch of apples.
Yes, I have so many apples.
Handing people apples.
Which is super good because when you haven't eaten for a while, that sugar helps. So you get,
It will help.
and they don't verbally respond. And the ones that are more recent, like seem to have been more recently brought here, when they try and talk, they sort of just like, I don't remember how I got here. This is so weird. Where are we? And even when your bard, who is probably the most responsive, having just got into this space and knocked out, just like, oh, I don't even remember what happened. I just remember I was saying a story and then I just felt my body move. But as he's trying to say what he experienced, you do hear just like the whining creak, like wood cracking. And I'll say, Gwendolyn, now that you have your bard with you and you're able to calm yourself a little bit, you look at this tree. It does. This is not what you had in your dream. This isn't whatever potential vision was given to you, but it does seem like a similar tree. The tree you saw had a very notable blade in it. This one does not.
Look around to see if there is one just lying around or something.
Yeah. Y'all did really well on that activity number. So yeah, you look around and it takes you a moment trying to stay away from the roots that are almost repairing themselves already. And you're not really seeing a weapon that may have been left here or maybe tossed here, but you do look back at the tree and you see that there was a notable like indent that looks like at this point it almost like it's trying to repair itself.
I will communicate to the others that I feel like there should be a sword around here. I don't like an unaccounted for sword. I'm not necessarily sure I'm going to communicate all of the details of why I think that, because I don't know what it means yet. But I will say that I feel like there's a missing sword of some type around here.
How are you certain?
It's just a feeling that I have, and just some of the dreams. I feel like there was it just feels like there should be one around. There's like a hole in the tree, you know? It's not like an axe thing.
All right.
Just have to trust me on that. Just what's the vibe of like can I like vibe check the space, because
Oh, for sure.
before when we when everybody's talking about like the woman, it's like very sad. So like does the area feel sad? If that makes sense.
If we are doing vibe, let's do a check. Because we like consequences if it doesn't work. Give me a wit check.
A wit check. Okay. No, that is a 16. My wit's 12.
All right. So you are very much trying to vibe with this space. You do recall in your dream of that mournful song, but having the previous conversations before coming here of the woman directing to where there is danger, not out of trying to get you into danger, but that there is something dangerous to be stopped. So there must be something about this tree that needs to be stopped. And as you're trying to see if it's maybe like, is she sad about the tree? Is she sad about what the tree is doing? What is going on? I'll say you lose endurance as you feel a sudden sleepiness wash over you. The flowers start to smell more fragrant to you, and you start to feel like you could sleep here. And what you don't notice is just like the little black root now trying to reach up to you.
Kit and Heloise notice and try to cut down the root before it gets like up.
Yes, let's do another roll here we haven't done yet. We can do a luck die if you wish to change the situation. So you roll a d6. A 1 to 3 is an unfavorable outcome, and a 4 to 6 is a favorable outcome.
Okay. Can you
You can do it.
be good to me? Be good to me. Be good to me. That's a 6.
So favorable outcome and the best luck you can have. So you very quickly, Heloise, instantly tap into what is happening to Gwendolyn, and you swiftly chop down on the root. And then, since you rolled a 6, I'll give this to you. You suddenly recall through your lessons in lore that sometimes out in the world, there is sort of anchors or locks made to suppress things, dark things that try to consume the lives and magics of Avalon. And it's potentially you can think and surmise that maybe that weapon may have been a key anchor to keep whatever evil is in that tree down.
I think we need to destroy the tree.
Hazel agrees.
The creatures of the
That's part of your favorable outcome, your extreme luck. The creatures are now answering you.
Speak to me, creatures.
I mean, Hazel will speak at literally every opportunity given to her. So, I love that.
That's
for
your
her.
patron just trying to send you a message.
There's certainly a message. Certainly.
Well-known fact about the Morrigan sends messages through really vocal cats.
Yeah.
I think Neve will accept this as like, okay, we got would stabbing the tree help, or would I mean, it seems like it would take a long time to stab to death. So it's like I would suggest fire, but fire in a forest, not great. So like maybe we can make a fire break, like a circle.
I think that would be the best way to get rid of the tree while containing. The animals agree.
The animals really want you to know how much they agree.
Nasser is feeling very torn right now because killing something that's alive that's not actively doing harm in this moment is upsetting to him, but also the tree is clearly dangerous. So I think he's just kind of standing there and possibly like he and Rayad are very good friends. So maybe he's like standing near Rayad because that soothes him, but he's not contributing to the conversation and probably not going to contribute to the actual tree killing.
And
it is actively hurting people because it did just try to get
it was, but then we chopped the pieces, so now it's just kind of hanging out.
I think that like Neve will give you like a little like glance because you did do the whole like thanking the tree when we cut one down earlier. So it has been like established in the world that you have a lot of feelings about trees. So Neve will kind of give you like the side eye of like, sorry.
He gives you
Eloise
sort
is
of an
just making an
understanding nod.
All right.
Gwendolyn is
So
mostly
this-
keeping a lookout for this woman while everybody else is doing things. I don't think she's going to directly help with that, and she's mostly keeping like what happened to this woman? Where did she go? That's
Mhm.
her concern right now.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting. Okay. So, as you're all just make the final decision about this tree, figuring out what memories and recollections you have of the stories around such events. Um, we'll set a final activity number for the night. So we have at least 2 people actively trying to put an end to this tree, along with what other whoever they brought with them to help them in this. Which it would be Heloise and Neve.
Yes.
So I'll say, Heloise, you mentioned going at it with an axe, so your squire as well as whoever you brought will follow suit. We'll do this at a 15 for our activity number. So y'all can roll your checks and describe what it is you're achieving this. Well, you kind of did, but as you get those rolls out, we'll go into the final descriptions of your actions here and see where they lead.
I got another 6.
So the thing is that I rolled a 1, which I guess is good in this circumstance, right? I wanted to know. Yes? No.
It's the activity number roll.
So it's not good.
Yeah, this is where you want to roll as high as you can to collectively beat the
Great.
number.
Well,
Did you roll a d20?
I did roll a
Okay,
D20.
roll one of your other die then. So either a d6, or if you want to argue for better or for worse if you want to.
I feel like this is frustration. I would like to argue for a D10 for frustration because Neve has had a day, okay? Like, and that's a 6.
Okay.
So that's a 7 from me. I'm trying to use fire and a fire break to destroy this tree.
Okay. Yeah, well, you have torches and lanterns, which we established when it came dark, so you do have that accessible to you already. So you got fires ready to throw down. And fire break with a 6, yeah, okay. And then who else is left? Roll. I believe we have one more roll.
I don't think Nasser is contributing anything specific here.
Would
Okay.
Nasser help with the fire break if Neve asked?
What
Double check.
exactly is a fire break?
It's like when you create there might be a more technical name for it, but that's what I always heard. It's like basically creating like an area between the tree and the rest of the forest so that the rest of the forest, like the fire doesn't have any fuel to spread.
Yeah, I
Like-
think he would help with that.
Okay.
I think I would roll a d4 on this because he's still just very emotionally shaken. Like he if you point him at things and say
Yeah.
pick that up and put that over there, he'll do it. But he's not like
You could also defer to your like the people you brought too.
It's
Because I know
true.
you brought the most people, which can help your roll if you want to argue
It's
for a better
true.
roll that
and
way.
they're strong. So yeah, maybe actually
They're used to plowing fields.
they're used to plowing fields. So actually, at that point, I would argue for a d8.
Yeah, go for it.
Or Nasser is the least helpful participant in this d8. I rolled a 1.
There you
Everyone
go.
is feeling very disheartened right now. The boss is sad.
sense.
You're very, very, very close to being that number. Okay. So we are sitting at a 14 total against it. So for the sake of saving time, because we don't have a lot of time in our session at this point, I'll say you are successful, but there's complications to come that you do not know from this event. Neve and Heloise, you do break up the lines and you hear the groaning and creaking of this tree, almost like it's trying to yell at you for hurting it, for attacking it. And when it's set ablaze, you smell, it's not just a burning of wood, it's almost like caustic in a way, or sulfuric. It's not a very pleasant smell. And yeah, for Nasir, you and your men are trying your best to help. They're kind of scared about the roots because they don't deal with that kind of weird stuff on their farms. And the smell of the burning tree and the oddness of it is sort of freaking you all out. And then for Gwendolyn, you're focusing on where did the lady go?
Yes.
And as you hone that in, I'll say with your role, you try and do that squinting thing again when you saw her that first time. And you do see her sort of on the edge of the grove. And she has reached down to a chain that was sort of broken. And it's very like ghostly and wispy in this blurred vision of yours. And it was reaching up to the tree. And as you sort of focus on her, she looks at you and you get a flash of that vision again, of being back to that sort of ocean of mist and this giant black tree where the trains and the sword in it. And you hear like metal breaking, just snaps as a couple chains fall down. And you see the sword push out a little bit before you snap back into the present.
I will tell Sagramore. I will assume that I collected him. And that my trip is over in whatever corner we are. I will mark to him. This isn't how it was in my tree earlier.
Is it even the same place as you dreamed? And
I don't know. I don't know.
all
I
right.
don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Well, they're handling the tree very, very well as he gestures to Neve and Heloise. I think this is something we'll have to go back and maybe research more, maybe talk to one of the ladies of the lake.
I hope my father knows something about it, but I don't feel optimistic.
All right. We'll see. Which then we're going to pull out of the scene to give you time. Don't have as much time as I'd hope. Because we just love role playing and doing this stuff. You all have successfully finished at least this leg of questing. You've saved the people that were captured, and as you count them out, it is everybody that was missing from the village plus the bard. So, of course, everyone is super grateful. You stay for a little bit to make sure everybody is fine and healthy, that any of the weird memory loss and stuff is looked after. But as that is recovered, you return back from your quest, returning to your fiefdoms for the time being, as we're going to do a very rapid fire of fief phase, which essentially can pick either a family affair and a personal affair, to figure out if there's something that has changed either in your relationships or in your fiefdom. Yeah. So if anyone has the little doc Google sheet thing I have here, family fare, you roll a luck die and 2d6 on our event table, which I have. So if you just want to roll it, I can tell you what it is. And this is for a family member or someone of narrative importance to you. Personal affairs, you choose what you're doing during your downtime, and you just make progress toward one major activity. So if you're trying to train or something, we'll set a number for that. Personal events. Again, you roll on the event table either 1 or 2 times. We might do it for when we don't have a lot of time left. And you can determine a problem or an antagonist or use a luck die as necessary. So this is just kind of like your personal stuff that's going on. So one by one, as you each return to your fief, doing your major quest for the year. Let's start with Neve. Would you like to do something with family or something personal?
I think I would like to do personal.
Okay.
And I think that Neve would like to research. Well, I'm really tempted to say learning to be a better swimmer, but I don't think that that's the issue. I think that Neve wants to learn more about like the intersection, because she knows a lot about spirits but not necessarily nature spirits, so I think
Mm-hmm.
that she wants to learn more about their interactions with nature, as opposed to the corruption of life, right? So things that are not turned but are.
Okay. So I'll say, yeah, that is a major activity during your downtime. So we'll set it for a N of 5. It's not too hard to find in research and lore. Your family has existed here for a long time. You know other scholars, and of course, your other knights who have knowledge as well that you could delve into. So for this coming year, you're doing that research. So you can choose now if you want to roll. You can decide what dice you want to use. If it's, I feel you're with everything, you can roll either maybe a 10, or if you want to argue for better, you can.
I'm good with a 10. I think a 10 is reasonable.
Yeah.
I rolled a 6. So
Okay.
that's good.
Yeah. So for the coming season with a 6, yeah, you definitely learn about those nature spirits, which I'll tell you next time. Or
Okay.
I'll send you information so you can regale everybody else next time.
Cool.
All right. Gwendolyn.
She is now very concerned about this sword thing. Especially since she had a dream about it, and she's not, I mean, as mentioned a lot of times, she's not very good at this divination thing. So it's like, I feel like this dream thing has been like the most major thing that has ever happened in this like career of trying to do this. So she's not feeling great about it. I don't know exactly how she tries to go about this. She wants to try and figure out if we can identify this goddamn sword that has gone missing. Or like, yeah, either through like more mundane things. She's gonna tell her father about it, obviously. If, yeah. So I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, so it sounds like another sort of personal activity for your
Yes.
going through downtown and research. Okay. I'll say between you being a lore master, the history of your family, you have connections to divination and the ladies of the lake. You can roll either a 10 or a 12. And we'll say that your AN is 5.
Wait, which one is a 10? I'm gonna do a 10 because I don't think she's still good at it enough for 12. She's just baby.
It's got a lot of help though.
Oh god, I rolled a 1.
The information's sort of, it's probably more of just the stress of it all. You're putting all this pressure on yourself. And maybe you are hearing the words being said to you, but it's just not quite sinking in yet. So you just have a 1 on that tracker for now.
I imagine it's like, when you have, like, you dream of something and you remember all of the words, and then the second you wake up, it's just Charlie Brown adults.
Yep. All right. Heloise, what would you like to do or see what happens?
I want to do a family one.
Ooh, okay.
I feel like pretty much everything, like Heloise was pretty much fine this entire time. She's really concerned about how close it was to her fiefdom, and because of that, I think she's focusing on her fiefdom as a whole, but also her family.
All right. So give me a quick first 1d6 to determine your luck on this, and then a 2d6 for the event around it.
So I got a 4.
Okay, so favorable.
Okay. And 2d6.
Yeah, so roll one at a time. The first 6 is determine which table, and the second one determine some information around that.
A 5.
Okay.
And a 1.
And a 1. Okay, so 5 and a 1. It says tourney. So how can that be interpreted? Sort of like an event. Maybe when you were preparing for your usual sort of your Day of the Dead events and festivities, because you always sort of need to prepare so early for that, especially as a central fiefdom for death and celebration of that. Maybe during through the tourney, you get to reconnect with some family that may have traveled off on pilgrimages to give their services to other people. And when they return from some of the more mountainous areas, they will explain some things to you, some things you jot down, and I will give that to you for next time. And then lastly, our dear Nasir, what would you like to do?
I feel like this has been a very emotionally difficult journey for Nasir, because he was hoping for a certain outcome and it turned out to not have that at all. And his nature is to not at all think about how upset he is, and instead be very worried that everyone around him is upset. And probably especially thinking about Ryan, who has similar personal attachments to this. So he's like, what does Ryan like? Ryan likes performances. We're going to put on a performance in the fiefdom.
Okay.
And his sister, Azadeh, who's also his heir, is a dancer / actor. So it will also be something exciting for her. And he's like writing the script and definitely not thinking about any emotions he's having about anything whatsoever.
All right. So that sounds like family affair as you're sort of helping, and they're also helping you. So just give me first the luck die. So 1 to 3 is bad. 4 to 6 is good. And then we'll do the tables. 3. Okay. So it's bad, but not like the worst. You're all emotional about this. It's hard to be distracted. So give me your first D6 number and then a second D6 number.
That's a 4 and that's a 6.
So that is faith. And this could be very much into faith of self, where you're sort of shaken because you couldn't find what you wanted. And, deep down and mentally, things take time to try and figure out. It's just that frustration because you have such worry and concern about what it is you're trying to do. And your family also feels that because they also feel that pain. So you try and distract yourselves with the festival, but that pain still lingers. And with that, I'm going to close the story here. Typically, we would end our story with a moment of regaling tales for our glory and spending that glory. But I think it might be fun to do that at the start of our next session, sort of as a recap of sorts. where we can elect one of you to recap the story in a very quest, here's our adventure sort of way. And then we can see what changes has happened in the world since. All right, so let's do very quickly round everybody. Jilly.
Hi, I'm Jilly. You can find me at Oh Look It's Jilly on the internet. My pronouns are she, her, and today I played Neve, whose pronouns are also she, her. This week, Friday, you can find me at Exquisite Corpse Presents playing Kel's Kitchen, which is going to be a super fun game, and I'm really excited for it. It is, yes, a cooking or TTRPG, and I'm
Yes.
playing Muriel, a retired librarian, and we're in it to win it. I will also be appearing on Horde of Tales next Thursday, not this Thursday, but the following Thursday, on a one shot of Burn Away. Burn Away? Yes.
Burn away.
Which we planned so far in advance that I keep forgetting it exists, but it's there and it's happening. And I will be at Big Bad Con at the end of the month running a workshop on writing and editing for TTRPGs, which I am planning in detail right now. So if you are interested in that, I have a Google form posted on my Twitter, and I think Blue Sky also, that you can fill out what you would like to know. I will be posting my notes after. I will not be posting everyone's notes because that is for them, but I will be posting my notes of what we talk about. So if you're interested in that and you have questions, then feel free to throw them in that document. That's me, the end.
All right, rapid fire. Gina.
Hi, I'm Gina. She, her. I've been playing Gwendolyn, also she, her. You can find me on Twitter at @GinaThan. And as for other channels, I'm just currently right here. That's it. Exclusive.
All right. Awesome. Knox.
Hey y'all, I'm Nox. You can find me on social media at Noxternal_7. And for this week, I have one thing this week. Saturday, I'm going to be over on Diversity Saves for their Hispanic Heritage Month stream. I'm going to be running a Kids on Brooms one-shot. If you know my campaign, School the Stars, it's a one-shot set in Las Estrellas with a different cast. And this is set before the events of School of the Stars. It's a very different vibe because this is before the town knew that shit was going down. Other than that, next Tuesday, I start a new campaign over on Girls Run These Worlds of Old Gods of Appalachia, where I'm a TikTok influencer who's trying to pay grad school debt by hoping that Dr. Pepper will give her a sponsorship. If you want to keep in touch, though, follow me on social media.
Beautiful stuff. Sophia.
Yeah, I'm Sophia. My pronouns are mostly they, them. I've been playing Nasir, whose pronouns are mostly he, him. I'm Swinging Storm on Twitter, or whatever they're calling it right now, and Swinging Storm on Blue Sky, and I'm Stormbraining on Mastodon. I don't know why I thought that was a good idea. And yeah, at the moment, this is the only thing that I'm in RPG-wise, though if you have like anxiety or mental health issues, you can join one of my workshops, and I talk about those on Twitter.
Amazing. I am a very anxious person. I should listen in on that. Which I've been Natalie. I mean, I am Natalie, not have been. I've been your GM. I am Natalie. I've been your GM for this wonderful beginning of our story of 4 nights in the game of Night. You can find me a lot of places with Ghost Candle or Ghostly Candle on Twitch and YouTube. You will see me tomorrow night over on, or not tomorrow night, tomorrow on Tavernaut playing Cryptic Creeks. And again on Thursday, same channel, same time, same game. Next week, Monday, I'm on Girls Run These Worlds in Under the Floorboards, followed by this. Again, repeat. Rinse and repeat. I'm in a lot of things, so make sure you follow me and see all that stuff. Now, for more things here on this channel, you can catch more Ironsworn, The Valley, Friday, September 15th and 29th, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Nerds on Dice is also looking for help. We're seeking producers to help us bring more shows for our amazing storytellers here. So, you know, come on. And we also are always looking for more chancellors to help manage the channel as we grow. If you have a story to tell and wish to bring that game to us to showcase it, our creator app is always open and can be found on the site formerly known as Twitter and Blue Sky. So just look up Nerds W Dice, I believe that was it, for Twitter. Or if there's any information in the sections down below, just follow, go, attack it. go, well, don't straight up attack it, but attack the forum, fill it out, give us your story. And yeah, so we are going to be rating. I was told we're going to be rating. We're going to be, where is it? Rating the initiative order. So let us hang on tight for that as we skip on over, and you all have a good time zone. Bye.